Alright, what we're looking at here is 2.3, factoring quadratic expressions. And we're looking at factoring quadratic expressions for simple trinomials. Let's look at some examples and examples in how to factor simple trinomials. A simple trinomial basically has the number at the front of the x squared is 1. So in front of x squared you will see or m squared or this x squared is 1. This one here has a 2, but we'll look at that in a little bit. So the key is in simple trinomials, it's a very simple rule. And that rule is we need to find out what two numbers multiply to give you -5 and add to give you -4. That is, what two numbers give you a product of -5 and a sum of -4. Well, hopefully you're thinking, alright, well there's only one way I can get -5 as a multiple, and that is if I do -5 times +1. -5 times +1 will give us -5, and -5 plus +1 will give us -4. Well, we're going to use these numbers to get our brackets that go in here, because essentially what factoring is unexpanding. You're reverse foiling, okay, to get back to the original, what the question was in brackets. So you'll have x minus 5 and x plus 1. Now let's quickly check. X times x gives us our x squared, x times plus 1, and minus 5 times x. So these two, the outside is plus x, the inside is minus 5x, and that will give us -4x. And find the last numbers, -5 and +1 gives you -5. So this outside and inside will give us our middle number. That's going to be important for a later lesson. Moving on, looking at the next question, you have to ask yourself, what are we trying to ask here? Well, our product is 12 and our sum is -7. So we know we're going to have a double set of brackets. And we know that each set of brackets is going to have an x in the front, because x times x gives us our x squared. Now we need to find, again, the product of +12 and a sum of -7. Alright, so now we're going to see, how are we going to get that? What two numbers multiply give us 12 and add to give us -7? Hopefully you're thinking, well, let's try. -12 and -1. That gives us +12 for multiplying, but when adding, that does not give us -7, so that one doesn't work. Let's try another combo for +12, -2 and -6. Does that add to give us -7? No. Let's try the next one, -3 and -4. Does that add to give us -7? Yes, it does, folks. So in the brackets, we're going to have x minus 3 and x minus 4. Because again, we do the outside is -4x, inside is -3x. That gives us -7. And when I multiply the last numbers, that gives us +12. When I multiply the first numbers, that gives us x squared. Okay, moving forwards, let's look at the next one. M squared plus 10m plus 21. Again, double set of brackets, put an m in each bracket, and now we need to find the product here when product is 21, +21, and the sum is 10. Hopefully you're thinking right away, what two numbers multiply to give us 21 and add to give you +10, and you get m plus, that's right, 3 and m plus 7. M plus 3 and m plus 7, when you foil it out, when you expand it out, m times m is m squared, m times +7, m times +3 is +10m, and +3 times +7 is +21. So what you're looking at here, folks, is being able to expand it to look like this. And this is what we want. Now the last one. Remember earlier I said that simple trinomials mean that there's a number, the number in front is a 1? Well, in this case, it's a 2. Well, what can we try with the 2? Well, folks, we want to try and common factor first. In fact, that's the first type of factoring we need to do. That was the first type of factoring you learned. That's the first type of factoring you need to do. So we take out the 2, and we're left with what? We're going to common factor the 2 because it can't come out of everything. We're left with x squared plus 4x minus 12. Now we have a simple trinomial inside there and we can factor it. So we're going to break it up. What product is negative 12 and sum is positive 4. Hopefully you remember from the example in part B that we're looking at the numbers 6 and 2. Positive 6 and negative 2. Because positive 6 times negative 2 is negative 12 and positive 6 plus negative 2 gives us positive 4. So the product and the sum works here, folks. Okay, something else to note here. Don't forget that if a question doesn't have any common factors, each of the factors will not have any common factors. So that's an important lesson to learn. Now let's recap everything to put it all into a simple perspective. Let's look at this example. In general, if you have a trinomial that looks like this, okay, simple trinomial where it's positive, positive, your result will be positive, positive. If you have a trinomial that looks like this, where the product is positive and the sum is negative, that means both signs inside will be negative. Next step is if you have a product that's negative and a sum that's negative, means that the bigger number is going to get the negative. That's what this r greater than s means, that the r is bigger. So the r is going to have the negative because the sum is negative. And then the smaller number will be positive. Now, conversely, if you have a product that's negative but the sum is positive, well, folks, that means that the bigger number, let's say r is the bigger number, will be positive. Again, because the middle term is positive, the bigger number will be positive, and the other number is negative. So these are examples, general examples of how to factor simple trinomials, and there's general results. Tomorrow we'll look at a little bit more complex. All right, folks, have a numerical day.